Natasha, and thank you so much for joining me today. Today we are scrap busting, of course, because we make beautiful backgrounds, particularly when you get on a roll with an absolute favorite technique like this paint scraping one that I did here. And I created lots of backgrounds, and now they're just sitting there looking at me, and I need to do something with them and turn them into some beautiful cards. So I'm going to actually pick, I believe this is kind of a Christmas, it's called Cozy Wreath from scrapbook.com, and I really like it, but more so I'm actually going to use these for the little bits and pieces of the foliage in the background. So by all means, if you've got little dies that are some branches or some flowers or something like that, then go for gold, that's going to work. We're going to make a really beautiful panel card here, and we're going to enhance it a little bit with some really simple techniques. Now I figured that because we had some of the sort of, pinks and reds and oranges and yellows, and we've got a little bit of the floral and fauna bits and pieces, we may as well make some ooh la la butterflies, which is exactly what this one is called. It cuts out, obviously this actually cuts out beautifully from a panel, but also you can use, in this case, like I am, I just put it on the scraps and I'm going to use it as just the little bits that pop out of it. So we'll use the butterflies and the little dots. And it's also really handy when you're using a background that you can't see as a whole, or it's too busy as a whole. It's brilliant to die cut them down. Now, as I said, we're using a few techniques to enhance this. One, I want this to give this a little bit of dimension, but I'm not going to use foam tape for this part of it. So I am just going to glue two panels together. This is about 1 3/4 or 2 inches wide or so. I just cut a little panel. Made sure I cut 2 of them, glued them together, and then again, we're going with a little bit of dimension, just using layers of cardstock. So I'm actually going to layer up 2 more strips on top of those 2 pieces of cardstock. So technically it's 4 layers thick on the outsides there. Now again, we're working with a little bit of dimension. I have another one of those Cozy Wreath die cuts already cut out, and I'm not being too particular here to get all my gluing spots. I'm really just getting the pieces that I think I'm going to use, so I don't need the rest to be perfect, albeit I love this as is. I have lots of cards that I've used and created and videos here on YouTube of me using this Cozy Wreath die as an actual die. It is absolutely perfect, and of course it cuts out that centerpiece, which lends itself really well for stamping a sentiment on there, and then you can of course pop it up or pop it back in or sink it down and recess it. Lots of fun options, but for now you can see that we're just actually using this to create a little sort of fluttering panel that is going to go on our card. So I am just spreading these out. I also have those little dots from the butterflies that I'm going to use, so I've got those. I also cut out the panel of butterflies again in plain white cardstock. So you'll see me popping up some of these butterflies onto more pieces of plain white cardstock, and I actually do the same with a couple of the dots as well. The dots aren't as necessary because we could also just use sequins or some Nouveau drops or some enamel dots or buttons or, even wee pebbles or something that you pick up on the beach. It's always nice to add in like a tiny little bit of like a wonderful memory or something. I recently received a card from a very good friend of mine, and she had a little bit of PowerShell on the front, I believe, and I was like, absolutely gorgeous, absolutely beautiful. So it's a good reminder to have these little things. We could add a natural element here or there too as well into our card making. For this one, I am just going to pop all these little elements very randomly up this panel. Now, you don't have to have them all facing in the right direction. You could have these more color coded if you wanted to. Like you could also do like an ombre, like start at red, move into oranges, move into yellows. You could do the whole rainbow. You could do blues into greens. Lots of different things that you could do here. Like I can imagine doing this with lots of little love hearts. I can imagine doing this with, if you wanted, for some boys, you could do balloons, just, like greens, blues, turquoises into little balloons of all different size shape. It really depends what dies you have. Punches would be great for this. Often punches are a little bit smaller. That would be really good to add in some smaller items as well. Using up those background scrap pieces. Sometimes this is really good for are stamping off, like if you've, if you've stamped off or used a test piece or something like that, and you think, actually, it doesn't look nice as a whole, but yeah, absolutely, we can turn these into beautiful makes. So you can cut out or punch out bits and pieces from those stamped off pieces. That's a really good way to use them. I'm going to use a little bit of a few sequins here because I want there to be that eye-catching element. And for me, that's usually something like shine or glitter or some element that might be through clear heat embossing, it might be through enamel dots, it might be through adding glitter, it might be through glossy accents, something that catches your eye as you move the card. So for this one, it's going to be those gorgeous little sequins. They're kind of almost sort of an iridescent look to them as well. But we've gone with all the pinks and the oranges out of here. This is a mixed set, which I absolutely love. I love that there is more than one colour in these mixes that I have been getting from Simon Says Stamp. And then I'm just going to fill this up. Now you could stop at any point. You could have this a little less full if you wanted to, a bit more empty. I think that would look nice, but I did get excited. I was getting carried away with all the beautiful shiny oranges and yellows and pinks, but I still really like it. Now one fell off. I clearly forgot to glue it on, so just need to pop that on now in the right place. I do think on camera this card is a little bit hard to see all of the finer detail because there is quite a lot of dimension used with plain cardstock. Now one thing I think could have been fun is with the clear white panels underneath, I feel like I maybe could have embossed that before sticking on the items on top, but as I said, it's very dimensional. There's a lot, I wouldn't say height-wise, but just lots of different heights because we've used several different layers of cardstock. So it's meant to be a sort of white-on-white panel with that little spot of colour going through it. And then up close you can see that little shimmery aspect with the sequins moving them around. And then, of course, a little sentiment I'm going to pop in there. This is the Trinity Stamps birthday. Absolutely perfect birthday set. There are so many different, big, bold, fine, delicate, curly, all the good things in here. I do think that this is a card that could be used for lots of different occasions. It looks very cheerful and bright. I've gone for birthday. It's your birthday, hooray. But as I said, lots of different occasions, and of course just change up the colour scheme. But have fun with dimension, have fun with playing with layers of cardstock. It can just be another fun way to elevate, just do that little bit extra in your card making. Thank you so much for being here. Here are some more videos that YouTube will think that you will really love, and I can't wait to see you next time. Bye!